Time is 5 p.m. and the Warwick Finance Committee is now open. May I have a motion for acceptance of the minutes for the meeting held on June 26th?
So moved.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
He's so with it.
May I have a motion for acceptance of the minutes for the meeting held on June 5th?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. May I have acceptance of the minutes for the meeting held on June 26th?
So moved.
Thank you. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye. He's on
That's
DC
okay.
time.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, just to open up, PCR 68-23, formerly bid 2023-427, Lincoln Avenue Pipeline Rehabilitation, Contract 1. Per request, the administration will be held until August 21st. May I have a motion?
Motion to hold.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. PCR 79-23, bid docket. Bid 2023-443, Connecticut Point Lighthouse Restoration.
Good evening, Tom Kravitz, City Planning Director.
Good evening, Director. You may begin, please.
Well, in the memo that you should have from myself to Francis Gomez, we're recommending to enter into a contract with Abcor Restoration to get the project started. We suspect we're going to need more money at some point, but we would come back to the council if we have to go above the 775, which was issued to us by a congressional earmark.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from members of this committee? Councilman Gebhardt.
What part is funded by the congressional earmark?
775,000.
Oh, okay. So funded in part by the earmark. So you're saying you'll go above the 775. So that'd be the part that's not funded by the earmark.
Right.
Do you have an order of magnitude on that?
It's probably double, just a little less than double that, we're thinking. It's one of the reasons we want to get going with this person and refine the scope of work and really see what we can do when, and meet with the mayor if we need more funds, come back to you at that point.
What's your perspective on the benefit of restoring this lighthouse?
Well, it's a cultural landmark. As a navigational tool, we know it's not utilized currently with the technology they use for navigation, but if we can get started with them now, we could just get into the project and see exactly what we need to do and when to preserve it, or at least stabilize it. I wouldn't say preserve it. I mean, a lot of this work is repairing the steel railings. You'll never put wood sash windows back in a structure like that, They'll probably be all prefab steel work and painted. Of course, there's the lead paint remediation and all that has to happen, and including some educational signage on the land side as well. So it's all about just trying to get it going.
And does the earmark grant preclude the city in any way from any sort of public-private partnership or something else in the future to help defray the costs?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, we have lots of aging things in the city, so just in terms of priority. A little concern there, but we can certainly get started with the federal government's money. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further questions from members of the council? Councilman Lattisaw.
Thank you, Chairman. Hello, Director.
Aye.
So in the first paragraph on the position paper, it says this project includes restoration work to the lighthouse and installation of an educational kiosk. Further down, it says, in the third paragraph, it says, based on a review of the proposals, plural, the firm that rated most highly, et cetera, et cetera. I don't see any other proposals in our binder, or at least in my binder. Were the proposals that you received, were they submitted?
There were two others, right? And a team in my office scored them and ranked them, and this one came out the highest based on experience and number of projects in the bay itself.
But we don't have the other two to
We
take a
can
look at.
delay this and get you those other two next month if you like.
Well, in the future, I'd like to see the proposals that, are being considered by whichever department it is or by us, as members, because right now, the only thing that we can see is this one. We don't see what the other two are. And the last, or next to the last paragraph, it says, in hopes of determining a precise cost estimate and scope of work based on the limited funds available above and beyond the congressional earmark. Could you just explain that to us? At the top, it says this project includes restoration work to the lighthouse and installation of a kiosk. Then down below, it says in hopes of determining a precise cost estimate. So are we looking at 775,000, but that's a number that is still open and a number that can grow?
It is a number that can grow. As a matter of fact, when we undertook this project, we mimicked the Brooks Act like you would with professional service firms. And we wanted to really focus on experience and scope of similar projects. There are certain forms we have to include through purchasing, one of which the highest scoring firm actually wrote a number in there. It's on the last page. 1,386,000 and change.
But we don't have that.
We're not focused on the number. We're focused on their experience. So, but another one of the respondent firms verbally communicated to one of my staff that it might cost around 1.5. So, we know when we probably don't have enough to do it the way we need to do it. But if we can get started with AppCore, it's one step in the right direction. And then as we refine that scope of work and we come to you with a number above 775, we'll be sure to do that.
Yeah. So, the other two proposals, had you submitted them to purchasing or whomever?
Yeah, the other two proposals would be at purchasing, yes. I assume they were in your package, and I apologize for that. They certainly in the future will be.
I don't know if any of my colleagues have anything, because I don't get it so much through the internet. I'm not Mr. Computer by any sense. I do it. Does any of my colleagues have that? Given the fact that you've submitted them and they weren't put in to us, if you don't have a problem with it, I think maybe I would like to ask you if we could hold it till next month so we can get all the documents that pertain to this. This is a pretty big number.
Yeah, and I'll get you the scoring sheets from the 3 staff people who scored them too.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. That okay with you, Mr. Chairman?
That's fine. If the director's fine, you're requesting it. I can request a PCR for a hold.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine.
Thank you. So, Councilman, may I have a PCR, please?
8123.
PCR 8123. We will
Sorry,
continue.
it's PCR what?
8123. Councilman, we will continue with the discussion and then we will go and,
Excuse me for a minute.
certainly. Are there any further questions from members of the council? Are there any further questions from members of the public? Thank you. And sir, just so we're fully aware, you're welcome to make your statement. We already began discussion on this. This will be held per request. We do have a motion after discussion to hold until next month when we get the bid ideas.
Certainly.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you.
Please give your name and then you may begin.
My name is James Italiani. I live on Hollis Ave.
Thank you.
My concern, and obviously I haven't seen the proposals, is that there's going to be tremendous ongoing maintenance forever on this. And it's not something that, of course, we wouldn't want to keep. But we have a lot of maintenance problems in the city as it is. I don't want to overburden those departments so much that we're going to have more problems. And I think that needs to be added into the budget and looked at also. And a comment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Are there any further public comments? So we have a request. Bid 2023 is now, bid 2023-443 is now PCR 81-23 per request of Councilman Lattiser. May I have a motion to hold until August 21st? Motion to hold. Second. I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next is bid 2024-066, structural firefighting coats and pants. Chief, good evening.
Good evening, Jason Ummenhauer, Assistant Chief of the Fire Department. The Fire Department is recommending the bid for structural firefighting coats and pants. Bid 2024-066 be awarded to Fire Tech and Safety. This will be a 1 or 6 month bid for an amount not to exceed $125,000.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any further questions from members of this committee? Are there any questions, comments from members of the council? Are there any questions, comments from members of the public? Question, comments from members of the public? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
2024-080 HVAC services for city-owned buildings. DPW, is there a representative from DPW here? Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Christy. We just hit on 2024-080 HVAC services for city-owned buildings.
Good evening. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Christy Moretti, Department of Public Works. This is a new bid for HVAC services for city buildings. We are requesting an amount of $80,000 for a 1-year period. And I just wanted to remind the council that this request is $80,000 because we did eliminate a position in the building maintenance budget that was a HVAC plumber position. So we used some of those funds that we eliminated to put towards
Thank you.
this bid.
Are there any questions, comments from members of this committee? Questions, comments from members of the council? Questions, comments from members of the public? Questions, comments from members of the public? Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump to bid item number 27, which is found on page 162. It is bid 2024-115, purchase of one 2023 Mack LR 64 sanitation vehicle. Christy, please re-identify and you may begin.
Christy Moretti, Public Works. Sorry, you caught me. I'm all out of sorts now. I'm out of order. The department is requesting to purchase one Mack 2023. It'll be available in October. To us, we have had some older items that are not going to make it probably another 6 months to a year. So we're requesting to purchase this from ARPA funds, $265.
Thank you. And is the supply chain, are we expecting, remember about a year ago, we had severe delays and when we purchased the vehicles and then it took over a year to get them.
That
Are
is-
we caught up on this or will this be a
No.
delay?
The automotive industry is still experiencing delays in certain areas. So this truck is already built. That's the reason we can get it so quickly. If we had gone out to bid and ordered that way, it would be at least 1.5 to 2 years before we saw a new vehicle.
Understood. Thank you so much. Are there any questions from members of this committee? Questions from members of the
Yeah,
council?
sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Lattisaur.
Sorry, which item are we on right now?
We are now, it's item 27, bid 2024-115 to purchase one 2023 Mack LR64 sanitation vehicle. That is found on page 162.
Okay, hold on with me.
Yep, I'll give you a minute. While we're waiting for the councilman, are there any comments or questions from members of the public? Thank you.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Christie. Item number 28 is bid 2024-114, purchase one 2023 Kubota M5 tractor. This is found on page 165. Christie, please reintroduce and begin.
Oh, God, okay. Christy Moretti, Department of Public Works, Business Manager. Public Works is requesting to purchase one 2023 Kubota M5 tractor. This vehicle is, it's a 5610, which is piggyback of the state bid for Norfolk Power Equipment in the amount of $129,401. And this tractor is immediately available. This will assist the department in cutting back the brush and vegetation and you know, all the things. We only have one vehicle that does it right now. So this will certainly assist us in getting things done a little more timely.
Thank you, Christie. And I got to tell you, I want to thank your department publicly. With all the rain we got, a lot of stop signs blocked, a lot of walkways blocked, a lot of safety obstructions, if you will.
Yes.
And having this equipment is definitely a help, and especially when we have, that's the priority, is taking care of that. Any questions from members of this committee? Are there any questions from members of the council? Councilman Lattisaur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Christy, I don't know if you said it in here or not, but I think you only have one piece of equipment that does this right now.
That's correct.
And Chairman, I agree with you. I mean, you don't have to go far from your front door, right, to see the need for this work and this equipment. So I'm happy to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from members of the public? Questions, comments from members of the public? Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Christy. That concludes the high bids of the bid packet. I now welcome members of this committee, and then I will follow through with members of the council, and then to members of the public. If there's any item from the bid package you would like to pull and have discussed, now would be the time. I will begin with the committee, then go to the council, then go to the public. Is there any items from the bid package that the committee would like to pull for discussion? I know I personally, it was easy to take care of it with 4 weeks of prep. Thank you. Is there any items from the bid package that members of the council would like to discuss? Yep, Councilwoman Travis. Okay. Well, Councilman Lattisaur, thank you.
Thank you. So I'm looking for item number 4, found on page 10, radio communication and equipment.
Yes, sir.
Item number 5, found on page 14, tire repairs and recapping.
Yes, sir.
29, hold on 1 minute. No, that's okay. Item 30, item number 8, found on page 35. Repair 2 light fixtures. Item number 10. No, that's okay. We'll pass on that one too. Item number 11. No, actually, it is item number 10. Sorry. Item number 10, found on page 42, Fire Department dress uniforms and badges. Bear with me 1 minute.
While you review, Councilman, I'm just going to go to Councilwoman Travis. She has one item.
Sure.
Councilwoman Travis? So, Councilwoman, you'd like to discuss bid 2024-107, purchase dugout benches for City Park, and you're gonna need a PCR on that to change the budget code? Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Lattisaw, thank you.
Okay. I have item number 13, found on page 53, multi-gas detection. No, never mind. I got my answer on that already. Thank you. Item number 15, buyout for Big Belly Solar Trash Units, found on page 66. Item number 16, found on page 70, Pilgrim Senior Center Building Assessment. And then another item which was not in my package, and I think, well, I may have to get it from one of you guys. The last item, I think, was the roof at the Pilgrim Senior Center.
Item number 30, bid 2023-305, Thayer Arena roof repair,
Yes,
replacement and/or repairs.
if someone has a copy of that, I would like to see it, please, because it was not in my package. Oh, wait a minute.
You don't have,
Hold on, it's in my,
oh, you're right.
here it is, it's in my file, right here.
Because it came in after the fact.
Okay, right, thank you.
So, Councilman, for clarification, you have it. Did you want to discuss it, or are we all set?
No, I want to discuss it. but,
Okay.
No, hold on, excuse me 1 minute. So the city clerk said that this was added after the binders went out.
Yes,
Okay,
you had already picked your binder up. So it was emailed out to you and the hard copy was left up here for you today on the cart.
okay. Once the binders go out, is anything supposed to be added?
Not without the approval of the council president, which I did not reach out to him because there was only one meeting this month. So
Okay.
I put one more on. I allowed it to go on.
Okay, so if you could indulge me for a few minutes, let me take a look at this, because I have not seen it.
Councilman, while you look at that, would you mind, we're going to go ahead and go to item 24. I'll start with Councilwoman Travis, and so we can get that PCR and that logistics issue taken care of.
Sure.
Thank you. Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you, Solicitor. Does the public have any item that they would like to pull and discuss from the bid package? Does the public have any item they would like to pull and discuss from the bid package? Thank you. Councilwoman Travis, we are now on bid 2024-107, purchase dugout benches for City Park. Oh, give me one moment.
So this is the one that now is going to be PCR 82-23? Okay. So what happened was, this came in under the opera money, but the total money with all 9 wards, when it's supposed to be divided now into the 9 separate wards. So I need my separate number just for Ward 6. And what we're doing with this purchase of these benches, we're getting 8 benches for the softball fields, and we're taking the 4 benches that are there now and bringing them over to the dog park.
Okay. So your request would be to, do you have the number we're gonna, okay, thank you. And what was I don't have, what is the one it's coming up, we're changing it from? So we're going to 510-05716. And it's the original one that was put into the bid package was? Yep. It's on page 139. I can get it right here too. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So per request of Councilwoman Travis, this is part of the opera funds and the different requests that every ward made. We pulled it for a PCR, and we're going to be pulling the funds from budget code 510-0400 to code, or from code, we're going to pull the money from code 510-05716. Thank you. Are there any discussion from the committee? Questions, discussion from members of the council? Questions, discussion from members of the public? Hearing none, may I have a motion on the PCR 8223?
Motion to amend.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. May I have
Thank you.
a favorable action on PCR as amended?
I move favorable action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Travis.
Thank you.
Councilman Lattiser, I refer back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to begin with item number 4?
Oh, okay.
2024?
All right. So now you're ready to begin thank you. If you would give me just one moment,
Sure.
I'll just get my paperwork in order. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, per request of Councilman Lattiser, we will discuss bid 2024-068, radio communication equipment, services, and repair. Good evening, Chief. Please identify, and Councilman Lattiser, the floor will be yours.
Jason Omenauer, Assistant Chief of the Fire Department.
Thank you. Hi, Chief.
Good evening.
Just a question on this item, one question.
Sure.
So in going with this, would we be expecting any price increases at all during this contract period?
I don't believe so. It's a 2-year bid, and the bid pricing is fixed for year 1 and for year 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't anticipate them changing those prices within the 2-year period.
Okay. That's all on that one, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. Are there any questions, comments from members of this committee? Further questions, comments from members of the council? Further questions, comments from members of the public? Questions, comments from members of the public? Thank you. Councilman Lattiser, we're moving on we are now on to bid 2022-108, tire repairs and recapping. This is found on page 14. Christie, if you wouldn't mind doing the full introduction, and then Councilman Lattiser, you can lead off with your question. Thank you.
Chrissy Moretti, Public Works Business Manager.
Thank you. Councilman.
Thank you. Christie, why are you extending this bid for just this short period of time?
The reason we're asking for this extension on this bid is because it doesn't flow with our new tire bid. So typically, when we purchase new tires, the mount, dismount, all that kind of thing, and the repairs are on this separate bid. So it makes more sense for us to be able to have them concurrent rather than have one expire in July and one expire in December.
And what do you have left for spending in that line item now?
I didn't look, but 140,000, I think.
140,000?
Yeah.
So you have about half of it left, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't understand why, I understand why you would want to extend it till December 31st. That makes sense to me to have that mirror up with the new tire item. But why do you need an additional 35,000 when you're still sitting on 140?
The line item, which is the budget code, has 140,000 in it, but the bid cap does not.
And what is the cap?
The cap right now sits at 315,000. I'm sorry, it sits at,
Okay, 350. That's what you want to increase it to.
correct. Right now it's at 275,000. But keep in mind that this bid started in July of 21. I'm sorry, September of 21. So we're 2 years into this bid, just about.
What I have over here is the cap is 280,000, and you want to increase it by 35,000. But you just said that you still have 140,000 left.
We have $140,000 in the budget code, not $140,000 in the bid cap.
So you have 140,000 in that line item.
In the bid, in the budget code, yes,
Okay.
the line item, 65,318.
Okay. And why do you need another 35,000?
Because I'm extending the bid for another about 3.5 months, from September 9th to December 31st.
Okay.
So I need more spending authority to get through that period.
Okay. All right, Chairman, that's fine.
Thank you. Questions, comments from members of the committee? Questions, comments from members of the council? Questions, comments from members of the public? Questions, comments from members of the public? Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you. Next was bid 2024-102, repair 2 light fixtures for motor vehicle accidents. This is found on page 34-5. Chrissy, reintroduce if you don't mind, please. Councilman Lattiser, you can lead off with a question.
Christy Moretti, Public Works Business Manager.
Thank you.
Christie, if I'm remembering this particular area, there's been quite a few accidents over there over the years. And what my question is, one of these items that you're looking to have us approve is for an accident that occurred back in October 2021. That's almost 2 years ago. And why are you so late coming to us now for approval to get it fixed? First question. Secondly, I'm assuming that this light has not been repaired yet, and I'm asking why that hasn't been done.
So the reason that neither one of these have been fixed is because I received an email from the trust inquiring as to whether or not they need, a photo of the light post being replaced. I didn't even know that they were had been knocked down. So I pursued it a little bit and found out that they still haven't been replaced. So now we're asking for, because the trust will reimburse us once we give them a photo and the purchase order and a copy of the canceled check when we pay for it. But until then, we have to fix them. So in an effort to, I guess at this point, expedite it, even though it's so late, it just, I had no idea until they were looking to pay the city for the accident.
So who's responsible for notifying DPW that there was an accident and that a street light was taken out and there's no light? Who's responsible for notifying you folks?
That's not a question that I can answer.
Who can?
The director,
The director of,
Public Works.
I believe he's here, isn't he?
He is.
Director, if you don't mind, identify yourself before making a statement. Thank you.
Eric Earls, Public Works Director.
Councilman Lattiser, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, Director, the question is, so here you folks have to come to us for monies to approve on an accident that happened 2 years ago. And it's a street light in an area that it's not the first time an accident has occurred over there. So it's somewhat of a concerning area. And it's because you folks apparently were never notified that the street light was taken out because of an accident or for whatever reason. So who is responsible for notifying DPW that, hey, we just had a traffic accident over here, this intersection, the pole's down, there's no light, and we need to get it fixed? Who's responsible for notifying you folks?
Typically, we'll get notified from whoever is involved in it. You know, maybe there's a police report, we'll get notified because of that. Maybe we'll, drive by and see that there's been an accident, or the insurance company will reach out to us. But there's another reason that it's taken so long. And the big reason why it's taken so long is that at the time, we're converting to the LED lights, right? And so October of 21, we knew that project was going on, but we didn't have those lights yet. That part, the decorative part of the LEDs, was the last part of that whole project. And as you know, we didn't finish with the decorative LEDs until just, maybe like 6 months ago, if that. And so that was a big part of why we needed to wait. We weren't going to throw up one of the old lights just to have them come out and put the LEDs up, after. So that was a large part of why there was a delay. But to answer your question, we typically find out from a number of sources when there's an accident.
So based upon what you just said, the department did know that this
No,
light
I'm
was
not
taken
saying
out.
that at all. I'm saying that
Oh.
that was in addition to the delayed response. Even if we had known in advance, we probably wouldn't have jumped on it because we were converting everything to LEDs.
So then you didn't know about it?
Yeah, what Christie said was accurate.
Okay. And on the May 24th, 23 incident, which involved another light, it says that this department has notified the driver's insurance of the cost to replace the unit and is awaiting reimbursement funds of $5,635. Have you received official notice from the insurance company that they're going to reimburse you $5,635?
I sent them a bill. We've already received the check. It's been deposited.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. I heard I sent them the bill.
I sent them the bill, and we've already received the check, and it's been deposited.
Oh, okay, okay. So that happened after, obviously, this document was sent to us. Okay. That's all I have on that one, Chairman.
Any further questions from members of this committee? Questions from members of the council? Questions from members of the public? Questions from members of the public? Thank you. The next item requested by Councilman Lattiser is bid 2024-070, Fire Department Dress Uniform Badges and Accessories. Thank you, Director. Thanks you, Christie. This is found on page 42. Chief. We're on bid 2024-070, Fire Department Dress Uniform Badges and Accessories. If you don't mind identifying, then we'll refer to Councilman Lattiser.
Jason Omenauer, Assistant Chief of the Fire Department.
Thank you so much, Chief. Councilman Lattiser.
Thank you. So, Chief, was the previous bid, was that a 2-year bid?
Correct.
Okay. And this concern that you have of minimum requirement of 24 employees per fitting session. So I understand that to mean that that particular vendor is essentially requiring the department to send 24 firefighters at one time to do this fitting.
Correct. And they're in Brooklyn, they're in New York, I believe.
I'm sorry?
They're in New York too, also. So they want us to have 24 people before we can do a fit-in for a uniform, and I don't ever do 24 people, maybe in an entire year. So that vendor was disqualified based on their requirements.
That wouldn't make sense to send one firefighter down there. Okay, I'm all set with that one, Chairman.
Any questions, further comments, questions from members of this committee? Comments, questions from members of this council? Comments, questions from members of the public? Members of the public. Thank you. The next item for discussion is found on page 66. It is bid 2024-103, buyout of Big Belly solar trash units. This is requested by Councilman Lattiser. Director, when you come up to the mic, just please identify.
Eric Earls, Public Works Director.
Thank you so much. Councilman Lattiser.
Thank you. Director, these 10 trash units, has there been an evaluation by you or anyone in your department or anyone else for that matter with respect to the current condition of all 10 of these units?
Yeah, I actually went out. The vendor wanted pictures of the units, and so rather than having someone else go, it was easy enough for me to just go out and took some pictures, checked the functionality of the units, and then responded accordingly to the vendor.
And what was your findings on those units?
They're working fine. You know, they were originally set up as they're solar and they're supposed to compact. I think that mechanism may not be working. But that being said, I don't think we were really taking advantage of that anyway. But the benefit of these units versus other units, especially down at Oakland Beach, is that they're closed, right? A lot of trash containers are open or easily opened. And down at Oakland Beach with rodents and seagulls, it's really imperative that we have closed containers. And that's what makes these, so valuable down there.
And what would be your expectation of the future performance of these? You know, we've had them for 5 years. Did the manufacturer originally give you an expectation of the life expectancy of these?
Well, the contract was for 5 years. So that's kind of what they anticipated. And then they would essentially buy them back then we would pay them to have them removed, which is an interesting trick, right?
Right, yeah.
But they are, the actual mechanism is comparable to a mailbox. You know, it's not a tricky kind of, mechanism that can be easily broken. Mm-hmm. So these are going to last us, another 5, 8, 10 years because they're sturdy and, they'll be fine out there. It has a pedal that you can step on and the top will open. That mechanism might fail. It's already failed on one of the 10, but that's about the extent of what could happen to them.
So I'm looking at, the different options. Mainly I was looking at option 2 versus option 3, vice versa. What is the cost over a 5-year period for this station refresh? And I guess first is, what does station refresh mean?
Well, the other piece that this could do is it could send a notification to Public Works when they were, whatever you set it for, 70% full, say. So we would get a notification when they were 70% full. That would put it on our radar to go collect it. I don't think we ever really took advantage of that either. It just became part of our regular route. And whether we got out there and they were, 100% full or 30% full, we were collecting them regardless. So we never really took advantage of that piece anyway.
That was the monitoring software access, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
What's that?
Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking to get the definition of station refresh. What does that include? What does it mean? And what is the value of that over the 5 years?
Yeah, actually, I'm not even sure what the station refresh means.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Up here in the first thing, it says, based upon the photos and assessment of the bins, this is an option 1. The full station refresh would include all new batteries, front doors, foot pedals, which you've just mentioned, solar bubbles, locks, and keys on all of your bins. The value with a high price tag when not bundled with the renewal cost. But, they don't tell you what that high value price tag is. Do you have any idea what that is?
Well, the difference between option 2 and option 3 is $12,500. So I'm guessing that's what they're thinking it's worth, right?
And we've never had to pay to replace a battery?
Like I said,
That's solar.
yeah. And we don't use that functionality anyway.
Okay. And there's been no problems with the solar panels or any of that stuff?
Yeah, as far as I know, but again, the solar panels were used to perform the compacting piece. We haven't really taken advantage of
Got
that.
it. Okay. All right. Thank you, Chairman. That answers the
Councilman
questions I
Gebhardt.
had.
Thank you, Councilman.
I would just say this all came to pass because of the sort of unscrupulous tactics in terms of the obscene bill they tried to send us to remove them at the end of our lease. So the least amount of money I think we can give them in the future and discontinue our relationship with them feels like the most appropriate next steps. So buying them as big, sturdy steel bins to put trash in sounds like a good idea. Doing more with them, probably not so much. So thanks. I agree with option 3.
Thank you, Councilman. Good point. Any further questions, comments from members of this committee? Questions, comments from members of this council?
I'm just going to add a few words
Thank you,
to it.
Councilwoman Travis.
Okay, I always see them work good if people use them. A lot of times people would just drop the garbage all over the place. I did see, trying to stuff a pizza box down one of them really messes it up. It won't go in and it gets stuck and somebody else has to either pull it out and throw it on the ground but at least they're covered. That way the seagulls can't get in it and they make a bigger damage. But I like the idea that we're going to have them never be ours. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, right?
Councilman Lattisaw.
So I suppose, credit due to DPW, there's one other point to make here is right now they're asking for $12,500, but we don't have to pay that 6,000 something or other, right?
Correct.
That they tried to coerce out of the city. So the net seems to make sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from members of the public? Questions, comments from members of the public? Thank you, Director. The next item is bid 2024-086, Pilgrim Senior Center Building Assessment. This is found on page 70. Is there anyone to speak on this item? Councilman Lattisaw requested it. Welcome back, Director. Please identify and we'll go to Councilman Lattisaw.
Eric Earls, Director of Public Works.
Thank you. Councilman.
Thank you, Chairman. Obviously, my concern and my questions is about the 42,850. These 5 items that Eagle Cornice is,
Oh, that's a different one, right?
what's that?
Right now, we are on, you requested, Councilman, give me one
Oh,
moment.
so this is two
This is
separate
the
items?
Pilgrim Senior Center, 2024-086, found on page 70.
Say that again? It's on
You-
page what?
Page 70, you requested item number 16, bid 2024-086, Pilgrim Senior Center,
Oh,
building
yes,
assessment.
Yes, okay, got it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Let me get back to page 70. Okay. So with this service that you're looking for, full service construction consulting firm, as I read through these things, aren't you and your staff basically doing the lion's share of this stuff already?
Well, no, I mean, we don't have experts on staff to assess like building envelope, masonry, siding, windows, that type of stuff. And that's what this vendor would provide us with, the assessment, but then also kind of an a la carte list of work that should be performed and what the priorities should be. I believe you brought this up at a previous council meeting on how before we jumped into something, we should have this type of assessment done. So that's kind of what we were thinking with regard to, and working a lot of the conversations with Meg at the senior center. She obviously doesn't have the expertise to see what's going wrong, except that things are going wrong, right? And so she kind of was on board with this when we had those discussions.
Okay, and so they'll be doing interviews with Meg or yourself or whomever, right, to see what you have. We have this problem, we have that problem, lights flicker, roof leaks, toilets don't flush, whatever. And then you also have to provide them, review available owner-provided design documents, previously completed reports, and as-built documentation. So that's information that you already have, right?
Yeah.
And it says provide on-site visual condition assessment of the building envelope with focus on the roof, masonry, glazing, exterior doors, et cetera, et cetera. What did they provide you with as a scope of work regarding the focus on the roof? Are they going to have qualified people up on that roof assessing the roofing details and flashing details and whatever else, is aligned with this? Or are they just doing, what do you call it, a drone view?
No, they would have boots on the ground. That's kind of what it says, right? In-person assessment.
Well, what I'm looking at, it says with focus on the roof. So I just want to make sure that we're going to have somebody with boots on the roof.
Provide on-site visual condition assessment.
Right. With focus on building envelope.
And the roof. The next words are the roof.
Yeah, the third item down is where it speaks to with focus on the roof. And then further on the next page, they tell us that what's not included is aerial lift equipment is not included, mechanical assessment is not included, repair, design, or construction phase services are available via follow-up proposals, though are not currently included. The proposal does not include hazardous material testing. So what we're getting here right now is going to be mainly, it's going to be a visual inspection of everything. And then they're going to provide you with a written assessment as to what their recommendations are in turn, or identifying what their findings are, and propose solutions as well as costs to effectuate those solutions.
Yeah, bullet 4, provide a written summary report that includes assessment findings, order of magnitude budget for deficiency repairs, scope prioritization chart for annual asset management, and recommended next steps.
Okay. my main concern here is, the roof, and that someone's going to be up there visually inspecting that roof. So as long as you're comfortable with it, that's going to happen, I'm fine.
Are there any further questions from members of this committee? Questions from members of the council? Questions from members of the public? Questions, comments from members of the public? Thank you. The final item that we will discuss, requested on the bid package, is item number 30. It is bid 2023-305, Thayer Arena roof replacement and/or repairs. This is found on page, I'm sorry, give me one moment, 179. Good evening, Christy.
Christy Moretti, Public Works Business Manager.
Thank you. Councilman, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Councilman Lattiser.
apologize.
Thank you. So, no, Chrissy was right. I actually asked the question before and she was getting ready to answer it. So we have this bid here for $1.5 million change to do the new roof. Then we have what appears to me to be an addendum for an additional $42,850. These items, these 1 through 5 items that are identified in Eagle Cornish's additional request, I guess is what I'll refer to it as. Were those items part of the original bid?
No, they were not. So what happened is when the roof project has already begun. So it's ongoing. And when they removed the roofing on the front rank, the edges they're like sunken. So the water we have standing water issues. It doesn't get to the gutters. So in order to fix that and make everything flow properly, we need to have this additional work done.
And this roof, obviously, I haven't been out there to look at this. This perimeter edge modifications, is this something that is attached to the roof that they did?
They haven't finished it yet. So this project is open. It's ongoing, and they haven't done anything to the edges of this roof, so they haven't buttoned up anything else. I mean, there's still quite a bit of work to be done as it is, but in order for us to move forward one way or another, we either need to fix this or we don't. So we are requesting to have this fixed to make the roof proper and the water run to the gutters like it's supposed to, rather than just put the roof back the way it is and have standing water again.
So this edging, and I'm just trying to understand this. This edging we're talking about this is a flat roof, right?
Yes.
Okay. So just as an example, we have 4 sides of a flat roof, and I give you a bid to do a new roof on this particular building. You can't do a new roof without addressing these items. Edge fascia is typically part of the roof. Buildups, et cetera, that could be a change order. Remove and dispose of built-up material while leaving the existing insulation intact. I don't understand that. Eric?
So the original roof,
If I can interrupt.
sorry.
Director, please.
Eric Earls, Public Works Director.
Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
So the original roof had a gravel layer on it. And so when they removed the gravel layer, that's when they realized that that along the edge, the actual roof was a little bit lower than the edge. So that's where this came from. So what they're proposing to do, and while they say it's a flat roof, it's really not a flat roof, right? There is some pitch to it. That's what gets it from the middle out. What they're going to propose to do is to increase that pitch a little bit so they can get it to the edge. And I believe they're also going to knock down, remove and dispose of bulk up materials, remove 1 layer of existing wood blocking to lower the level of the edge and create positive pitch to the new gutter. So they're going to raise it up a little bit, but also remove a level of block on the edge so that they can get it to pitch out to the gutter.
And none of that language was identified in the bid request for this roof? Because when you're removing tar and gravel off a roof, what I'm seeing here, that's almost par for the course of what's going to be done. Or certainly it's a significant expectation of what needs to be done. So my question is, was any of this work included or identified in the original scope of work?
No.
Okay. Then, if that was not the case, I don't see where we have anything to talk about other than paying the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions from members of the committee? Comments, questions from members of the council? Comments, questions from members of the public? Thank you. That concludes the bid package. May I have a bid, or correction, may I have a motion on PCR 79-23?
Favorable action.
I have a motion. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. My intent was to go right to the administration. They wanted to go over PCR 24-23. However, I don't see them here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to stay in order. Next will be, so we'll discuss PCR 80-23, resolution relative to abatements.
Neil
Good evening,
Dupuy.
Director. Please identify.
Neil Dupuy, Director of Assessing. This month, we have abatements for you in the amount of $15,511.20. The majority of these are new applications for tax exemptions, but I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. I will give everyone an opportunity. Is there any questions from members of this committee? Are there any questions, comments from members of the council? Questions, comments from members of the public?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, identify, please. Oh, solicitor, I apologize.
Thank you. On behalf of Councilman Sinapi, we're going to need to remove 2 items from the abatements and give them their own PCR so we can abstain on the vote on those abatements. Those are number 100129850. The person is Dennis Sullivan, and the amount is $415.20. And number 139166, this is for Thomas Moran, in the same amount, $415.20. So at the appropriate time, if the committee would entertain an amendment to remove those items, reduce the total abatements accordingly, and assign those 2 abatements as their own PCR in the amount of $830.40.
Do you have the?
Are there other abstentions needed?
Pardon me for not bringing this to the council solicitor's attention earlier.
Councilman Ricks, Ward 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, if it would be possible to similarly assign the last one on page 1. Let's see. I'm seeing that as owner number 55466, Michael Zarum, out of an abundance of caution, as its own PCR. Thank you.
So to be all on the same page, Councilman Ricks, that is, you requested that 55466 also be removed and designated its own PCR.
It could be as its own PCR or the same PCR as the other 2. As long as it's not part of the bid package, it's fine by me.
Thank you. Solicitor, what's your recommendation? If you wouldn't mind, once you figure that out, would you read it for the record? And I'll ask for favorable action. Thank you.
Let's take them separately because it's separate reasons for the recusal. So if we want to do one at a time.
Understood.
Madam Clerk, if we could have a PCR for abatement 55466, Michael Zarum, $600. Okay, and would the committee like to make a recommendation on that?
I will continue with the questions, comments from members of the council. Questions, comments from members of the public? May I have a recommendation from this committee on formerly abatement 55466, now PCR 83-23?
Move favorable action on that PCR.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Solicitor?
Madam Clerk, if PCR 8423 would be the abatements of Dennis Sullivan and Thomas Moran, the amount of $415.20 each, totaling $830.40. Be in order for a motion.
I move favorable action on that PCR.
PCR 84-23, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Could you repeat those two, please?
PCR 83, the abatement of Michael Zarum is now.
No, that I have. The one for,
The abatements of Dennis Sullivan and Thomas Moran are now PCR 8423.
okay.
Each one is in the amount as originally published, which is $415.20. So the total for this PCR would be $830.40. And lastly, Mr. Chairman, would be to amend the PCR 8023 for the new total of $14,600.80.
So we're clear on this, the new amount is $14,600.80.
Director concur?
Thank you. And I will ask for a motion to amend. May I have a motion to amend PCR 80-23 to the amount of $14,600.80?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a
Sorry,
motion?
Mr. Chairman, the amount.
Correction.
I think the amount was incorrect. I gave you a bad amount, I think. Double checking.
Yep, no problem.
The total amount would be $14,080.80.
Do we concur? $14,080.80.
Sure, withdraw the last motion.
Motion to withdraw, or do I have to make a motion on the withdrawal or just? Okay. I will recognize that the last motion was invalid. We will begin with a new motion. May I have a motion to amend PCR 80-23 to the new amount of $14,080.80?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. May I have a motion as amended on PCR 80-23 for $14,080.80?
Move favorable action as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Solicitor. Thank you, Director. And thank you, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump over item number 3 and go right to, we'll go back to that. So we're just going to get out of order a little bit and go to PCR item number 4, PCR 24-23, formerly bid 2023-088 repairs to engine 13. Good evening. How are you, Chrissy? Can you please
fine,
identify?
thank you. Christy Moretti, Public Works Business Manager.
Thank you.
But before we get into this, I do need to make an amendment.
Okay. And what would be your amendment?
My request is to amend the dollar amount from $25,498.06 to $34,200.86.
Give me one moment, please.
Could you repeat that number, please?
I was just, one moment, please, Councilman. So Christie, you want to amend from $25,408.06 to $34,200.86.
Correct.
Thank you. Please continue.
Well, the reason for the amendment is because there was an issue that was still outstanding with the vehicle when it was repaired. And I had gone back and forth with the trust and the trust with Greenwood, and there was a bit of a communication error between the two that didn't have anything to do with the city. But they were waiting on parts and invoices to complete the supplement that came through, the last one. So that has all been squared away. The city has been reimbursed. The city's been paid for the balance of that dollar amount up to $34,000. And the truck is fixed. So at this point, we request to, with the amendment, to pay the vendor for work that they did to this vehicle.
So just for clarification, you said that the city is responsible for the increased amount, or is the trust, because that was between Greenwood and the trust?
Yes, and the trust, so the trust and Greenwood Emergency Vehicles came to an agreement on the price as a whole.
Yep.
We received another estimate, which shows the first estimate, the supplement, the second supplement, and so the total dollar amount, and the city's received a check. So now it's our responsibility to pay the vendor.
Okay. And once we vote on this, this authorizes the payment from the trust to the city to pay this, or the trust has already paid the repair company?
The trust has already paid the city.
Yeah,
The
okay.
city now needs to pay Greenwood.
And the trust already paid the city the $34,200 amount?
Yes.
Thank you. Anything further before I go to questions?
Nope, I just need approval from the council this evening to get the vendor paid, and we won't talk about engine 13 anymore.
Thank you. Any questions from this committee? Questions, comments from the council? Councilman Lattisaw.
Thank you, Chairman. So now we have numbers all over the place. And this number is close to $10,000 higher than when you came to us 5 months ago. And this item has been dragging on for 5 months or 6. So my first question is, why the delays? Why has this dragged on so long?
That was at the request of the administration. We wanted to make sure that we had all the correct information to get the vendor paid and not have to make 2 requests.
So initially, and I'm backing into the paperwork because this has been going on so long, so just bear with me. Initially, you had submitted one invoice back in February or so, which we approved. And then you came back to us at another point in time with an additional invoice of $14,000 and change. First invoice was $10,000 and change, and I'm just going by memory as I'm flipping through these pages here. And then you came back for $14,000 change. At that time, I identified, after confirming with you the 2 invoice amounts, I identified, I believe it was an $80 error in the math of those 2 numbers. So that hasn't been resolved. And I'm looking at, right now, estimate totals, net cost of repairs, $25,498. And one of those items that I just found, I just couldn't understand, is why in the initial invoice, or I should say the initial estimate, there is an item for $2,250 for a front windshield panel. When this was an accident that that resulted with a fire engine simply making a U-turn and hitting a collier. And I asked, how can a windshield panel be damaged to the point that it needs to be replaced? That question wasn't answered, but I do have another invoice here which issues a credit for $2,250. And the numbers are just all over the place on this thing. And here's the numbers. So initially you came to us for $10,451.12, which we approved. Then you came back and said there was additional damage that couldn't be seen. And you asked for an additional $14,614.87. And that's when I began asking a whole lot of questions about this. Because from in the beginning, we were told that there was a police report. I reached out to the colonel, and he told me the police department had no such report. Then it surfaced that the RIAC had their own investigation done, and they did the report. But yet in that report, we do not have, or at least I don't have, a copy of the operator's statement as to what happened. That's not in this package. Nor do I see in this package a report filed by the operator with the state, which I believe is a requirement. And I don't see any, nor could I find any such report. But to get back to the numbers were off then by $90. And what the total should have been was $25,065.90. You were asking for $25,155, $25,155.99. Now, in addition to all of these other things that has been going on with this claim, you come back to us with no additional documents. I have no additional documentation looking for an additional $9,000 some odd dollars that the trust paid. But we don't have any documentation in here about what that additional $9,000 was for. So I'm assuming we're expected to just go ahead and approve this without having any accountability for, let alone what it was, to what it is now.
So, Councilman, the initial estimate on this vehicle damage was $10,451.12.
Correct.
I know. There were 2 supplements for damage to this vehicle, which is worked out between the vendor and the trust. It is not negotiated by the City of Warwick. It's not negotiated by the Department of Public Works. It is between the vendor and the trust. So the bottom line is, because it's our vehicle, the trust is giving us the money for the repair. All I'm asking for is to pay the vendor because we have the money. So at the end of it, supplement 1 was $15,046.94. Supplement 2 was $8,702.80 for a grand total of $34,200.86.
Grand total of what?
$34,200.86. These numbers have nothing to do with the Department of Public Works or the City of Warwick.
And Christie, I'm not suggesting they do.
Well, I just want to make it clear because we're essentially just the pass-through because the city of Warwick is the legal registered owner of the vehicle. So the trust pays the city for the damage that is agreed upon. So it's our responsibility now to pull a purchase order to pay this vendor for monies that we've received. So, I mean, I'm not really sure how much, there's a police report, there's photos, there's, this is our job, we're doing our job. And
I'm questioning the expense. And quite to the contrary of comments that, what's the issue? The insurance company's paying for it. The taxpayers are paying for it because the trust is taxpayer dollars in, taxpayer dollars out. So it is taxpayer dollars that go to the trust to pay these claims. And at least myself, I believe that I have a responsibility to make sure of the validity, or I should say the reasonableness or the actuality of the amounts that are being charged. Now, no one has, I just asked for some simple answers to some simple questions. And here we are 5 or 6 months later, and I still don't have documentation that I've requested regarding the issues about this accident, the time frames regarding this accident, because if you look through the reports, the hours that are indicated by the airport police and the hour on the report, there's some time lapses in those hours. So, yeah, I want to know why wasn't a driver's report submitted to the state? And I've never got that answer.
I don't believe
Now,
that
if
a
it's not-
driver's report is required to be submitted to the state.
It's not, so.
I don't believe so.
So the fire department or the city, they have an exemption for the state law that requires the operator of a motor vehicle who has been involved in an accident to file an accident report within X amount of days. The city has an exemption to that law?
There's no exemption, it's just not required.
It's not required.
No.
So if it's a
Like
state.
back in the day when you used to have 20 days, you had to fill out that thing with the diagrams and all that. We don't do that anymore.
So we don't have to do that.
No.
Interesting.
Councilman, you hit your 10 minutes. I'd like to ask other members of the committee and council if they have questions on this. Moving forward, are there any further questions from members of this committee on this item? Are there any further questions from members of the council on this item? Are there any questions or comments from members of the public on this item? I would like to wrap it up by saying that, Chrissy, I thank you. We've been in contact with this, and I do thank you for making sure, and the administration for making sure that the vehicle was properly repaired, and the trust did reimburse the city the total cost of the vehicle. And that is, earlier today, we spoke of an incident where the trust had to pay for an uninsured vehicle, which is also the cost that we pick up. So the vehicle is operational. Engine 13 is back out doing its duty, serving the safety of the citizens, which I appreciate. And I'm going to seek a favorable action on this. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion?
So are you coming back to me now?
Councilman, you used the 10 minutes that was allocated.
Well, that's fine, Mr. Chairman, but I've been waiting 5 months to have this conversation, and you're going to restrict me to 10 minutes. How's that?
Councilman, I think that, I'm just going to say that I know that when I had questions, I reached out to the administration. I was being kept up to date. I was, on top of everything going on. I called, I said, how are we doing on engine 13? Hold on, Chairman, this is going on that. We're going to request that it's held. No problem, thank you. There was always open communication, but also it's value of time where I understood that if the trust, which is the insurance company, was willing to negotiate with the vendor and the vendor repaired the vehicle, then the job is done. The trust reviewed the case, which is the insurance, and they closed the case. Now, Solicitor, just to answer the councilman, I, as the chairman, would like to call a vote on favorable action. However, the councilman makes a point that he would like more time. I personally, as the chairman, felt that he's utilized the time, and the time for this committee was used wisely. Is it a motion where a motion would be made, or is it the chairman's opinion where the councilman would have more time?
There would need to be a majority voice vote or unanimous consent granted. If that, you could process it without a vote by saying, is there any objection to giving him more time? Would be one way to waive the 10-minute rule.
Would it be the committee or the entire council?
It's just the committee.
Just the committee. If anyone would like to make a motion to give Councilman Lattiser more time,
I'll move to give him 5 minutes and ask him to get to the point.
I second that.
okay, we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor? Aye. Aye, thank you. Councilman, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. So I'm not going to waste my 5 minutes to dispute with you, Mr. Chairman, what your philosophies are in representing your constituents. You do what you want to do, and I'll do what I want to do. With regard to this claim, there's numbers all over the place with this, and these numbers don't make sense to me. We have not been provided with documentation. Now, whether it's the airport corporation or whomever, with the documentation that I've requested. And here we are now, as I say, some 5 months later, and we've just been introduced to an additional $10,000 that we had no idea, nor do we have any explanation as to the items that impacted that $10,000. Think about it. So this is 3 bites at the apple that the repair shop had in repairing this vehicle. This isn't like this vehicle was traveling at 100 miles an hour. It was traveling about 2 miles an hour, making a U-turn and hit a collier. Now, how in the hell that ever happened in the first place is beyond me. But the fact is, apparently it did. So you have a professional body replacement company that needs 3 bites at the apple. They had this whole front end apart in the first place. And then they said, oh, we found these other things. Fine. Okay, you found these other things. What are they? Well, we did get a description on that, but yet there's discounts that were applied after I questioned about the windshield. Now here we are with, oh, by the way, after we had it already disassembled once and we came to you for an additional 15 grand, now we're coming back to you whatever amount of time frame before they sent this over, and we're looking for another 9 grand. This makes like 0 sense to me. So thank you for the 5 minutes. I appreciate it. I'll be voting no.
Thank you, Councilman. Are there any further comments or questions from members of this council? Councilman Gebhardt.
I concur with the councilman. This has been sloppy and confusing. But if you've had your vehicle at a body shop before and had any sort of major damage, you know that sometimes they find other things. I agree the communication could have been crisper and the documentation, certainly it's been on our docket for, I don't know, months now. But it was an insurance related incident, and whatever the cause of the accident was, that's not for us to adjudicate here. It's just to, certainly the trust, being the insurance body, is going to be speculative of the damage, and they go through their process. They've approved the insurance claim. We've already received the funds, so I don't see any reason to further hold it up. I think separate from this finance item, if the councilman wanted to dig in deeper into what actually happened, and if there's anything else that could have been done to prevent this from happening, that's fine, but that's not the purview of the finance committee when resolving an insurance claim. So I'll vote yes to move beyond this, but certainly agree that things could have been done better here.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further questions from members of the council? Public, members of the public, any further questions, comments from members of the public? Comments, questions from members of the public? Thank you. So we're going to have two votes here. One, we're going to have to amend PCR 24-23 from $25,408.06 to $34,286. May I have a motion?
Motion to amend.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion on PCR 24-23 as amended?
I move favorable action. Second. As amended.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Item number 3. PCO 17-23, an ordinance amendment section 20-132 of the City of Warwick Code of Ordinances relative to Fire and Police 1, employer pension contributions, and Chapter 60 to create a funding strategy for other post-employment benefits. This was Council President McAllister on behalf of the administration. This is for second passage. Is there any questions coming from members of the committee? Questions, comments from members of the council on second passage? Councilman Ricks.
I think we've already had discussion on this plan at numerous times, so I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm going to vote no because the plan involves paying less into our long-term liabilities over the next, I believe, 3 years than we would pay under the current 40-year plan. I do, however, think it is very important that we do have a long-term plan to fund OPEB. So I do think that in general and in principle, it is a good idea to pass legislation similar to this. However, because of those particular details, I would intend to vote against this particular plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further comments, questions? Members of the council. Councilman Lattisaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also will be voting no on this. I disagree with the policies, and I disagree with the strategies that this is dealing with. And I do not feel that this is in the best interest of the taxpayers. So for those reasons and everything else I said at the last meeting, I'll be voting no.
Thank you, Councilman. Further questions, comments from members of this council? Comments, questions from members of the public? Comments, questions from members of the public? May I have a motion for second passage?
Move favorable action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier in this meeting, this committee voted to hold PCR 68-23, formerly bid 2023-427, Lincoln Avenue Pipeline Rehabilitation Contract 1 until August 21st. Next is item number 6, PCR 77-23, a resolution relating to issuing requests for proposals for American Rescue Plan Act community projects. My computer, oh no, it didn't reboot. Okay, give me 1 second, please. There we go. This says requested by Council President McAllister. Does she have anything to add? This is for the items for Ward 1, Ward 5, and Ward 8. The items would be Ward 1, North Country Club, revamp the field and walking path. Ward 5, Sandy Lane, installation of crosswalk at St. Kevin's Church. And Ward 8, East Natick neighborhood improvements. Councilwoman Travis.
Yes, will be favorable action.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Are there any comments from members of this committee? Comments from members of the council? Comments from members of the public on PCR 77-23? Thank you. Per request of Councilwoman Travis, may I have a motion?
Move favorable action.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The time is now 6:34 and the Finance Committee is closed. Thank you, everybody.
The next committee would be ordinance.
That's yours.
I think you only got one. Smoking in bed. Yeah. Oh, did you? Where's Jeremy? Come on, you gotta get moving. Joanne.
Ordinance will convene at 6:38 PM. First thing on the docket is acceptance of minutes from committee meeting held on June 26, 2023. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have PCO-7-23 Sub A, an ordinance amending the City of Warwick Code of Ordinances relative to employing harbor masters and the description of pump out locations. This would be second passage. Councilman Lattiser?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to confirm with the solicitor, city council solicitor, that the only thing we are voting on this evening is the changes that we had approved at the last meeting, which was language only speaking to the harbor master. And I've also noticed in here language that I don't believe was, or maybe it was, regarding the pump out facilities. And let's just go to that. I don't have a problem with it. I just want to speak to it. So the harbor master language we're clear on, and then on page 8, there was language there where it speaks to line 5, item G on page 8, pump out facilities. And what was done was this, I'll read it. No person shall operate a marine toilet at any time so as to cause or permit to pass or to be discharged any sewage into the waters. It delineates the lines starting with of the city, excluding Greenwich Bay, Narragansett Bay, and Providence River. And it adds enclosed by the city of Warwick Harbor boundary. And I'm fine with that. I think that is a good amendment to this. I'll defer to the council solicitor.
Thank you, Councilman. Yes, confirming what you stated. This is second passage of the item that we amended last month. That's why you see PCO 723 Sub A. And the only changes that are being made are on page 2, which is changing the compensation structure and employment status of harbor masters, and as noted on page 8, which is really just updating the cross-reference of what our body of water that we're in charge of, that it's just making a cleaner definition. Those are the only changes here, and it is a separate apart from the harbor management plan, which you've docketed an item for to be addressed at a later date following some further public discussions.
So to make everyone clear, including members of the public that are here or listening in, we are under no circumstances voting for anything with regard to the full-blown harbor management plan. That's something that we'll be taking up at a future date once I have the language drafted for that. Is that an accurate summation?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have to add to that, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your indulgence.
Any questions or comments from members of the committee? Any questions or comments from members of the council? Any questions or comments from members of the public? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Move favorable action, second passage as amended.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we have PCO-18-23, an ordinance regulating the smoking or vaporizing of cannabis. Councilman Howe, and it would be first passage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I respectfully request we hold this item until August 21st.
Request by the sponsor to hold till August 21st. Do we have a motion?
Move to hold.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I believe that is all for ordinance as of 6:43 PM.
Public Safety meeting is called to order at 6:43. The first item is approval of the minutes from June 26th. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First item is PCR 75-23, a resolution in regards to authorizing the stop signs on Inman Avenue where it intersects with Parkway Drive. For action, Councilman Howe.
You request favorable action.
Do you have a traffic study with this, I assume? Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the council? Any questions from the public? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Move favorable action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution PCR 7823, resolution relative to replacing signs on Inman Avenue to establish a uniform speed limit of 25 miles an hour. Councilman Howe.
Thank you, Chairman. Like the last one, this is just policing up the whole signage issue that we discussed and many others in the past. Request favorable action with police study.
Thank you, sir. Comments from the committee? Comments from the council? Questions? Questions, comments from the public? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Move favorable action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting, public safety ends at 6:45.
Intergovernmental's next.
Jeremy, can you leave your mic? Here.
It is now 6:45 and the Intergovernmental Committee is now in session. The first order of business is the acceptance of minutes from the committee meeting held on May 8th, 2023. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
The first item on the agenda is PCR 74-23, a resolution extending a commission to examine possible means of tax relief for the Warwick property owners through tax exemptions. Councilman Ricks?
Request favorable action.
Do I hear a motion?
No questions from the committee first.
Questions from the committee?
None.
From the council? From the public? Do I hear a motion?
Move favorable action.
Second?
Hear a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Nice meeting you, Anthony. One? 6:47.
The meeting closes at 6:47.
Next is appointments. No, didn't we just do that? Let's do that.
Oh, I'm sorry, public property.
Nope, appointments.
I'm sorry. My bad. Not me. It's all good. Where'd you get those?
Good evening. Time is now 6:48. Appointments comes to order. First up is the acceptance of minutes from the committee meeting held on June 5th.
Motion to accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have one appointment on the docket this evening. It's actually a reappointment to Miss Jane Austin, who was recently appointed newly to the Land Trust, but she was filling the term of a member who had departed. So this is a reappointment, essentially to extend and grant her a full term through May 1st of 2028. I believe we're familiar with Miss Austin and her work so far on the Land Trust. Congratulations, she is now the chair of the Land Trust. So the ball is in your court. Do any members of the committee have any questions, comments? Councilman Lettuce, or?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to just start off by saying I've known Jane Austin for a very long time. Her resume certainly speaks for itself. An incredible resume. Obviously, years and years of very hard work to earn that resume. I also want to recognize Miss Austin for all of the effort and hard work that she put into the extremely onerous Warwick City Council Sewer Review Commission, which was my very first commission when I got elected in 2012. Jane was there at every meeting. She was with Save the Bay at the time and was invaluable to me with dealing with both the good and the bad, of the issues involving the whys and the why and the why nots as to the sewers never getting done. Your efforts in your background, in your knowledge, and your experience, and your incredible way of communicating was just incredible for us on that committee, and you certainly played a large role in getting us to that final end. And I'm happy to say to you this evening that we are very close to the end of the tunnel. We're at the light. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you for all the work that you've done on so many different commissions and boards over your career, and that you continue to do in the Land Trust. And congratulations on being appointed chair. That was a very responsible appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members of the committee? Councilman Sinapi?
Mr. Chair.
Just to say congratulations and well deserved.
Councilwoman Travis?
Thank you. I also want to add what a plus to have Jane involved in the city of Warwick. Not for years and years, I've worked with her with Save the Bay, with the school committee. Their involvement with the environment was unbelievable. Anytime you had a question, you just go to see Jane Austen. You know you would get a clear answer. And I'm so glad that you're on the Land Trust, so thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add one more very important thing. Jane's involvement and focus on the short-term rental legislation. What you did and the effort and time that you put into that was, it played a very large role in us getting that passed. And I am very, very grateful. I know I'm speaking for the administration as well, the planning director and all the other folks who are involved in this. But the presentation and the visibility of the members of the public that filled this chamber when we had those meetings was very, very much appreciated. So thank you again. I'm done. I won't say again.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Ricks.
I'd just like to briefly thank you for your service on the Land Trust. It's an important committee. A lot of work goes into it, and it's certainly not easy. So thank you for stepping up, and especially stepping up in that role as chair.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other members of the council? Ms. Austin, would you like to say anything?
Yes, just very briefly. Jane Austen, thank you very much for the kind words. I'm very pleased to be in the chair. We've been having productive and constructive meetings and getting tremendous support from my predecessor as the chair. We hope to be in front of you again the next few months, filling out our ranks, and then moving forward with a very, I think, important and exciting mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And of course, the Land Trust is one of the committees that is appointed by the City Council, and one that we endeavor to work closely with. So you have all of our support, both in your role as the chair, as well as in anything else that the Land Trust needs to fulfill its mission. Without, do I have any other members of the public wish to say anything? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the reappointment of Mrs. Jane Austen to the Land Trust Commission.
Motion and a second, and a vote?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you. That concludes our business in the Appointments Committee.
Land Trust. Go ahead. Public properties. Land use. Land use.
The City Council Committee on Public Properties, Land Use, and Community Affairs convenes at 6:55 p.m. First up, acceptance of the minutes dated June 26, 2023. Do we have a motion?
Move favorable action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One item on the agenda, that is PCO 15-23. This is Councilman Sinapi. An ordinance amending the zoning of the City of Warwick, 989 Centerville LLC petitioner. This is for second passage. Do we have a recommendation from the sponsor?
Request favorable action.
We have our request for favorable action. This was discussed at greater length during the hearing for first passage. Do we have any additional comments from members of the committee?
Nope.
Members of the council?
Nope.
Members of the public? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
Move favorable action.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The committee adjourns at 6:56 PM.
Well done. What was your?
You're starting on time, so I'm not going to go through all this. We'll go in regular order. Public comment, you announced those two. It got cut off here on the bottom of page two. This one? Yep. Got cut off. And then on the consent calendar, Tim can read off what the numbers are. This one, we don't
Opening of the July 17th Warwick City Council. City Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. McAllister, Mr. Foley, Mr. Gebhardt, Mr. Howe.
Here.
Mr. Lattiser.
Present.
Mr. McElroy.
Here.
Mr. Ricks.
Here.
Mr. Sinapi. Ms. Travis.
Here.
8 present.
Councilman Sinapi, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
General communications, announcements of congratulations, condolence, and community events. We have any communication? Nope. Executive communication, acceptance of minutes from council meeting held on June 26, 2023. Councilman Howe?
Move favorable action.
Second. Councilman Fuller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public comment. Rule 41, after general communications and prior to the consent calendar, the last regular scheduled meeting of the city council each month, there shall be a period of time not to exceed 30 minutes during which citizens may comment about Warwick city government issues subject to the following stipulations. The total period of time for public comment shall not exceed 30 minutes. Comments need to be brief in order to allow as many citizens as possible to participate. Each citizen signed up and present shall have not to exceed 5 minutes to speak, provided, however, that if it's more than 6 citizens are signed up and present in the 30 minutes, will be split evenly among speakers. Time shall not be transferable among speakers. The topics of comment shall be issued directly affecting city government. City council members will not respond to questions during the public comment period. The public comment session will terminate at the expirations of the earliest of all speakers, concluding the allotted time or 30 minutes. Waiver of this provision required an unanimous vote of the council. We have 2 people that signed. The first one will be Rob Cody.
Good evening. Just a little bit about some local politics, and I have some official city documents to share. First, I'd like to congratulate Councilwoman Travis, another front page of the Providence Journal.
You will be talking about city government or you'll be leaving.
This
So
is about
stick
city
to the
government.
topic of city government or else you'll be escorted out.
This is about city government. It's actually mentioned about the Warwick
Did you hear
City
what I just
Council.
said?
Okay.
I don't care, any one of the council people, you do not take attack to. Stick to a city government issue, and then we'll go forward.
Okay. This is about city government issues. We have an elected official.
Okay, somebody want to take him out?
You know this is going to
He's
bring
all
in the
done.
ACLU. This is about
You get away with it every month, you're not gonna do it with me. You're leaving now. I'm sure he can read. Go. Go. Goodbye. Mike Zerum, next.
Am I handing that out? Thank you. Yes, if you could just hand that out. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the City Council, and members of the public who are here this evening. Just to start, so I can pace myself, how much time do I have within the 15 minutes?
Is it 5?
Okay. The comments I'm to make tonight have regard to a recent decision that was issued by the FAA in regards to TF Green Airport, which impacts the entire city of Warwick. And I'm asking that my comments that are written, that were just handed to everybody under the Open Meetings Act, be included in the minutes for this evening as an attachment. I'm basically going to ask the City Council to support doing some of what we did back in 2011, and that all former City Council presidents and City Councils have fully supported. And that's in the middle of a legal process under the National Environmental Policy Act to have somebody represent the city of Warwick and its constituents who's not an interested party in sponsoring huge cargo jets at the airport. So I'm just going to try and read, if I have enough time, read my comments into the record. If I don't have enough time to finish, if Madam Clerk could just make sure that my comments, written form, end up in the minutes for this meeting. Anyway, dear members of the Warwick City Council and Director of Planning, who I'm not sure is here tonight, but Mr. Kravitz is aware of this. The Federal Aviation Act under 49 U.S.C. 46110 specifies a limited time period, which is 60 days, which the City Council or the Mayor has to respond to the June 12th, 2023 FONSI ROD, which is by filing a petition for review in the DC Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, I'm not saying we should do that yet, but all I'm asking tonight is that somebody in the city, most likely the planning director is the most appropriate person, to at least have a conversation with the former FAA attorney who the City Council retained back in 2011, just to find out what we can and can't do, what RAC is telling the city, if it's factful or not. So anyway, from 49 U.S.C. section 46110, the petition must be filed no later than 60 days after the order is issued. Specific language from that U.S. code is attached below. It's on the second page, third page. The order related to the city of Warwick's interest was issued on June 12th. The clock is ticking for the city to respond. Neither the FAA nor the Airport Corporation will tell you or the city that the cited U.S. code applies to the city of Warwick. The city likely would only know that if you had a seasoned advisor looking out for the city of Warwick, or somebody like myself who's been around this stuff for decades. That's all I'm trying to do, is get you to do what's right for your constituents.
With the city choosing to take no action to appeal the FONSI, which is finding a no significant impact, the record of decision, that will result in the city of Warwick forever waiving all of its legal rights on an FAA action that has significant impacts to our community as perceived by the residents who live local to the airport, where local ordinances and the World Health Organization metrics would be used. There would be a finding of significant impact, rather than the FAA noise and emissions metrics, which intentionally understate the impacts to our community. The noise metrics used in the environmental assessment recently issued were recently found to be inaccurate, arbitrary, and capricious, and the metrics that they used in the record of decision within the city are actually the FAA.
You have 1
recently-
minute, Mr. Zarum.
How much? Okay. Recently announced that they're going to be replaced. So the metrics they just used to tell us there's no significant impact, the FAA isn't just reached out nationwide for comments because what they did is inaccurate here. So anyway, I'm asking you to read this because I'm not going to have time to read it with the limited time. I thought I had 7 minutes, but I know time goes quick. So I'm just going to say, in closing, I'm making the simple request that the city call Mr. Stephen Tabor, who the city's retained before, for a discussion to find out what the city options are, given a 6/12/23 FONSI record of decision and the deadline fastly approaching of August 12, 2023, to file a petition for review on or before August 11, 2023, to negotiate an enforceable community mitigation agreement with date certain for RIAC to perform mitigation of residents in the city of Warwick. Sincerely, Michael Zarum.
Time's up, Mr. Zarum.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zarum. We forgot reading material. Thank you. Do you want this back? I just wrote. Okay. Announcements of appointment. Warwick Housing Authority, William Fan, 27, he's not here, but these are announcements, okay. 27 Urban Avenue, Warwick, Rhode Island, 0288, reappointment from Ward 1. Second one is West Bay Community Action, Laura Toscani, 119 Lansing Avenue, Warwick. This is replacing Anthony Correnti, Ward 2. Appointments requiring confirmation.
Thank you, Councilwoman Travis. The Appointments Committee heard the appointment of Jane Austin to the Land Trust and recommends favorable action.
Favorable action. For action, Councilman Lattisaw.
Move favorable action on the reappointment of Jane Kenny Austin to the Land Trust Commission.
Second by Councilman Graka. And Councilman Foley, Councilman Ricks, Councilman, and Councilman me. Okay. Clerk, call the order.
Mr. Foley?
Yes.
Mr. Gephardt?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McElroy? Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
8 no.
And congratulations, Ms. Austin. The consent calendar. Let's see, we're going to finance? Okay. Councilman Howell. Second, Councilman Foley. Second by you. Go ahead. You can go, Mr. Howell.
Thank you.
Councilman Howell.
Bid 2024-066, bid 2024-080, 2024-068, 2022-108, 2024-087, 2024-079, 2024-102, 2024-067, 2024-070, 2024-088, 2024-089, 2024-108, 2024-109, 2024-103, 2024-086, 2023-239, 2024-098, 2024-104, 2024-090, 2024-015, 2024-105, 2024-106, 2023-190, 2024-099, 2024-115, 2024-114, 2023-062, 2023-305. That concludes the bid calendar.
Next, we have PCR-80-23, resolution relative to abatements.
Favorable action with amendments?
Mr. Chairman, we can just,
You can
because the
do it.
items were pulled, we can just announce that new amount,
Yes, sir.
which was $14,080.80.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. PCR 80-23 was favorable action in the amount of, with an amendment amount of $14,080.80.
Are there any questions on, do I have a second? Councilman Foley. Now, do we have any questions? Can you call the roll?
Mr. Foley?
Yes.
Mr. Gephardt?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser? Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi?
You can vote on this. The items are going to be dealt with outside of the consent calendar.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
8 yes, consent passes.
Items. Are we going to move the bids now from the items that were removed? Items that were removed.
Do we do, Solicitor, do we do a favorable action as amended on this, or this one?
So these are the items that were removed. There were 2 bids and 2 abatements. They all have their own PCRs.
Yes.
So starting with bid 2023-443, which is now PCR 8123.
For clarification, Solicitor, we just did a vote on PCR 8023 that was amended. Do I put forward a vote on as amended?
No, we took one vote on the consent calendar. Because they were removed, the
Yes.
amount got automatically updated.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Councilwoman, PCR 83-23 was favorable action in the amount of $600.
It's whole-
Well, Chairman, there were 2 bids removed first before we get to the abatements.
Yeah,
back.
bids,
So, bid
PCR 81-23 was held to August.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
That-
correction. PCR 81-23 was held until August 21st.
Mhm.
The next item, give me one moment, please.
The next is bid 2024-107, which has become PCR 8223.
Thank you. And the amendment was to go from budget code 5100400 to budget code 51005-716. Favorable action.
Right. Then we're going down to the abatements.
Take a vote on that, Madam President. So Chairman Howe moves the favorable action on 8223, seconded by,
Okay. Second by Councilman Foley. That was favorable action.
and now put the amendment in play. So the amendment as read, you can move, Councilman.
Thank you. Move favorable action with the amendment.
Second by Councilman Foley.
Any questions on the amendment?
Any question on that amendment? All right, can you call the roll?
Mr. Foley? Yes. Mr. Gephardt?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser? Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
8 yes to amend.
Move favorable action on PCR 8223 as amended.
Second by Councilman Foley.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Oh, any questions on the amendment? We understand what that amendment was, right? Just changing the number. Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Foley? Yes. Mr. Gephardt? Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser? Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
8 yes. Motion passes as amended.
Right, now we're going to abatements. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Councilwoman. PCR 83-23 was favorable amendment in the amount of $600.
Okay, we're doing them separate, we're doing both together. Second, Councilman Foley. Any questions? Call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Or, pardon me, I mixed up the numbers. This is the one I abstain on.
It's just about to check.
Yes. Okay.
Councilwoman Travis, next is PCR 84-23. That's favorable action in the amount of $830.40.
Second, Councilman Foley. Any questions? Okay, call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, this time.
Yes. Okay. Now we're going to number 1. PCO-7-23 sub A, an ordinance amending the City of Warwick Code of Ordinance related to the employment harbor masters and the description of pump out stations. Councilman Lattiser on behalf of Mayor Pacozzi and Councilwoman Travis. Councilman Lattiser.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. We have spoken about this extensively between the last meeting and this meeting. And having said that, I would respectfully request favorable action on PCO 7-23.
Second, Councilman Hall. Any
I'm good.
questions? City Clerk, call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Number 2, PCO-1523, an ordinance amending the zoning of the City of Warwick, 989 Centerville LLC petitioner. This is second passage. Councilman Sinapi. For action. Second, Councilman Lattiser, Councilman Howell. Any questions?
I'll move favorable action.
Okay. Okay, second, I thought we did that. No, oh, he said favorable action. All right, so you got second. Councilman Howell and Councilman Foley. And Councilman Ricks. Now we have any questions?
I'll second it too.
You started it.
Twice.
Okay. City Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Foley? Yes. Mr. Gephardt? Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
Yes.
Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
8 yes, motion passes.
Number 3, PCO-17-23, an ordinance amending Section 20-132 of the City of Warwick Code of Ordinance relative to Fire and Police 1 employee pension contribute in Chapter 60 to create a funding strategy for other post-employment benefits. Council President McAllister, on behalf of Mayor Pacozzi. Councilman Howell, you want to move this?
Move favorable action.
Second by Councilman Foley. Any questions? City Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Foley?
Yes.
Mr. Gephardt? Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
No.
Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
No.
Mr. Sinapi? Yes. Ms. Travis?
Yes.
5 yes, 2 no, motion passes. 6-2, sorry.
Okay, number 4. PCR-24-23, this was 2023-088, repairs to engine 13. Councilman Howell.
Thank you. Favorable action with amendments.
Okay. Second? Councilman Foley. All right, do we have any questions first?
Madam
Your amendment.
Councilwoman, yes. We have to move the amendment for the contract award to be $15,046.94, correct? And
Yes.
then we will note one to be $34,286.
286 cents. Yep. Second by Councilman Foley. Any questions on that? Councilman Lattisaw.
Thank you, Madam President. As I stated in committee, I will be voting no on this. We have not received any documentation whatsoever to show these numbers, what the pots were for, et cetera. So I'm not voting for something that I can't see.
Any other questions? No? All right, we're moving on the amendment. We're voting on the amendment. City Clerk, call the roll.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Move as amended.
Second, Councilman Foley. Any questions? Councilman Lattisaw.
Thank you, Madam President. Once again, I'll be voting no on this item, and I'm just going to repeat some of the reasons why. This entire item has just been poorly presented. It has been poorly documented. There has been no communication justifying many of the things. The numbers are all over the place. And particularly concerning is that the required reports and processes are not being presented to us, or perhaps not occurred in the first place. And I asked again the question this evening whether or not the driver of that vehicle submitted a report to the state. And the answer was no, we don't have to. Well, I would like to see from the department where they're getting that language, where they're getting that law, because I'm going to cite right now in the record the law that I do have. And the actual law is 31-33-1, accident reports. The operator of every motor vehicle which is in any manner involved in an accident within this state in which any person is killed or injured, or in which damage to the property of any one person, including the operator, in excess of $500 is sustained, shall within 21 days after the accident report the matter in writing to the Division of Motor Vehicles. The report, the form of which shall be prescribed by the Division of Motor Vehicles, shall contain information to enable the Division of Motor Vehicles to determine whether the requirements for the deposit of security under Chapters 31 and 32 of this title are inapplicable by reason of the existence of insurance or other exceptions specified in the chapters. And the administrator of the Division of Motor Vehicles may regard the information given as true until the contrary reasonably appears. If that operator is physically incapable of making the report, the owner of the motor vehicle involved in the accident shall, within 21 days after learning of the accident, make the report. The operator or the owner shall furnish any additional relevant information that the Division of Motor Vehicles shall require. Now, that didn't occur. And despite my request for asking for this documentation as well as others, it didn't occur. When we first received this claim, there was nothing to substantiate the damage. There was no pictures, there was no reports, there was no anything. It was just an assumption that the city council is going to go ahead and approve the expenditure of these taxpayer dollars. To take this a step further, and a bit more concerning regarding the report, keep in mind one goes hand in hand, It says failure to file accident report. Failure to report an accident as required in 3133-1 shall be punishable by a fine as provided for in 3141.1-4, and the Division of Motor Vehicles shall suspend the license of person failing to make the report or the non-resident's operating privilege of the person until a report has been filed and for any further period not to exceed 30 days that the Division of Motor Vehicles may fix it. So I think that we're missing a whole lot of information here. And to say that we shouldn't have a say, we as the city council shouldn't have a say on this, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's the whole purpose of bringing these things to the city council, so that we can vet it, so that we have an opportunity to take another look at it, and so that we certainly have an opportunity to question the cost, et cetera, et cetera. The fact that the trust just approves it and pays it, what does that mean? That means we're supposed to just go along? Well, I am not going to be supporting this, and my reasons have been expressed. This has been going on now for at least 5 months, and tonight we find out that in addition to the other things that we haven't received or knew about, now we find out that there's another $9,000 worth of damage for the third bite at the apple that this particular repair shop had at resolving this problem. So, as I said, I will be voting no. Thank you for your indulgence, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? City Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Foley?
Yes.
Mr. Gephardt? Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser?
No.
Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
7 yes, 1 no, motion passes.
Okay, number 5, PCR-68-23, 2023-427. This was Lincoln Avenue Pipeline Rehabilitation Contract 1. Councilman Howell,
Hold until August 21st.
being held to August 21st. New business, PCO-1823, an ordinance regulating the smoking and vaporizing of cannabis. Councilman Howell, first passage.
Thank you. I requested the committee hold until August 21st.
Being held to August 21st. PCR-74-23, resolution extending a commission to examine possible means of tax relief for the Warwick property owners through tax exemptions. Councilman Ricks.
Request favorable action.
Second by Councilman Foley, Councilman McElroy, Councilman Lattiser. All right, we have, let's see. Councilman Ricks, you got to say something? Or?
Move favorable action.
Oh,
as
that's
well.
it?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Any no questions? City Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Foley?
Yes.
Mr. Gephardt? Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser? Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
8 yes, motion passes.
PCR-75-23, a resolutions in regards of authorizing the stop sign on Ingman Avenue where it intersects with Parkway Drive. This is public safety.
Recommend favorable action.
For action, Councilman Howell.
Favorable action?
Second, Councilman Lattiser. You want to add anything, or we just?
No.
No questions? All right. City Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Foley?
Yes.
Mr. Gephardt? Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser? Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
8 yes, motion passes.
Next, I don't have the gavel to hit after we do that. I want you to know that. PCR 7723, a resolution relative to issuing requests for proposals for American Rescue Plan Act community projects. This is finance.
Favorable action?
Could you do it for Council President McAllister?
Certainly. Request favorable action.
Second by Councilman Foley. Any questions? City Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Foley?
Yes.
Mr. Gephardt? Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser? Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
8 yes, motion passes.
PCR-78-23, resolution relative to replacing signs on Ingman Avenue to establish a uniform speed limit of 25 miles per hour. Public safety.
Recommend favorable action.
For action, Councilman Howell.
Request favorable action.
Second, Councilman McElroy, Councilman Lattiser, Councilman Foley. Any questions? City Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Foley?
Yes.
Mr. Gephardt? Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Lattiser? Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Yes.
Mr. Sinapi? Ms. Travis?
Yes.
8 yes, motion passes.
Good. Next is executive session of the City Council. Pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46(5)(a)(2), this public body will convene into executive session regarding pending litigation. City of Warwick versus Johnson Controls Fire Protection Limited Partnership, case number 122 CV 00312. Do I need a motion?
We would need a motion to convene into executive session pursuant to 42-46(5)(a)(2) regarding pending litigation, City of Warwick v. Johnson Controls Fire Protection Limited Partnership, case number 1:22-CV-00312.
Do I have a motion to do that? All right, Councilman McElroy, Councilman Howell, Councilman Ricks, and Councilman Foley. Nobody on this side? Call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. So we are going to convene now into executive session. Okay, that's good.
Pursuant to 4246-5A2, regarding pending litigation, the City of Warwick v. Johnson Controls Fire Protection Limited Partnership, case number 1:22-CV-00312. The following votes were taken. There was a unanimous vote to authorize the mayor to enter into a settlement in this case. There was a unanimous vote to convene into open session. It would now be appropriate for a motion to seal the minutes of the
We have a
executive
motion
session.
to seal the minutes, Councilman McElroy, seconded by Councilman Howell. Councilman Lattiser. Call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion to seal the minutes?
So the minutes of the executive session of July 17th shall be sealed.
Okay, so now is unanimous consent. Ward 1, unanimous consent. Okay. Ward 2,
Pass.
Ward 3,
Pass.
Ward 4,
Pass.
Ward 5, Ward 8, Ward 9. I pass. Councilman McElroy, do you want to do it, the honorable body, or you want me to do it?
Excuse me.
To a docket session?
Yes, I would like this honorable body to now go to the docket session.
Thank you. Ward 1? Oh, I need a second. All right, Councilman Howell, Councilman Foley, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Ward 1. Ward 2.
Pass.
Ward 3.
Pass.
Ward 4.
Pass.
Ward 5. Ward 6 passes. Ward 8. Ward 9. Public property? That's public properties. You got to say it on the mic, Councilman. She couldn't.
A resolution for the permanent protection of Chippewa-Noxet Point under the public trust.
Okay, everybody, have a great night and see you on August 21st. Can't miss that.
Right?